Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Gold Mythic Eugene, who is going to be a promo character coming to the game, and I believe he is going to be part of an event kind of like Konrad was part of an event, so be on the lookout for that in the future. If we look at his visuals first before we go into his kit, you can see that he has he's like Workshop Eugene here. He's got the apron on, he's got some bits and pieces of armor, but he's got quite a lot of weapons hidden around. He's also got some shotgun shells, you know, in a little pocket, a little pouch there. I like it, the axe, the shotgun across the stomach. He has not got an attached weapon. However, on the left-hand side, you can see he's working on a silenced pistol. Maybe this is Eugene's silenced pistol. We'll have to wait and see if it comes into the game in the future. We'll check out his stats. As a level 680 Limit Break 2 character, he has got 16,927 attack, 15,986 defense, and 14,105 HP. He is an alert character, of course, holding that pistol. Damage dealer, he is a mythic character, and he is considered to be part of the militia as his allegiance. Now we'll check out his adrenaline rush, and it is a 66 AP cost rush. Deal 800% damage to one enemy. This character gets 20 AP. This is obviously just going to be extremely hard hitting. 800% is going to take out most characters on defense teams or attack teams, you know, depending on where you want to use Eugene here. You would think primarily this character would be used on an attack team because he is a damage dealer, but I'll give you a little sneak peek now. There is potential for him to be used on a defense team. Later on in the video, you'll find out why. But the second part of this, with the 20 AP, it does mean that he will get like a natural rotation after he rushes the first time in terms of just attack, rush, or attack signature move rush, because he does have a signature move that works in the first 2 turns. And that on a defense team, he could have a stat weapon. He doesn't have to have huge AP on attack, but on an attack team, he would still need huge AP on attack, but he wouldn't need any other AP manipulators. This is going to be enough for him to get his natural rush in the rotation. Okay, so here we have Eugene's rush up and ready. I have got an attack weapon in his hands. I think it's got 40% attack and 1535, so nothing like spectacular. You can definitely get better attack team weapons, and we're just going to go in with the attack here. He has got a 20% attack buff, and that's because of something else on his kit. We'll get the rush in. We're going to, you know, focus on Cliff because he is the bodyguard. He would absorb it from anyone else anyway, so you might as well take him out. And you're going to take him out, and you're going to get that 20 AP bonus there, as you can see. So the rush called Little Knowledge. I didn't actually think I said it was called Little Knowledge, but it is a pretty straightforward rush. We can see the upgrades at grade 3. It gets 200% damage boost, so it goes from 500% to 700%. At grade 5, that requires 2 gold mythics. You get 20 AP gain. And then at Limit Break 2, it gets a 100% damage boost. And it goes from 700% to 800%. I would say the most important ones here are grade 3 and grade 5 in terms of rounding out this rush, and the usability with the 20 AP is quite important depending on where you want to use him. The 100% damage boost at Limit Break 2 is nice though, but it isn't going to make or break this character when it comes to usability. It's just going to be a big bonus on top, as will the extra stats that this character will get if you get them up to Limit Break 2 level as well. Now, Eugene does have a signature move, of course, and it is called Dangerous Thing. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 2, cooldown of 2 turns, number of uses unlimited, attack 1 enemy for 200% damage. That line of enemies gets impaired for 1 turn. So this character does bring a little bit of control to the table. It is a turn 2 signature move, so it's going to be the natural sort of sequence when it goes to a basic attack, signature move, rush on attack or defense. Obviously on defense you may need some AP in there, be it on the weapon, be it on someone else on the defense team, or you're going to rely on potentially him getting hit, but you could maybe see him being tanky as a primary thing, and not someone who can just get destroyed if he's on a defense team. But the control is nice. It's going to be on turn 2 as well. It would be stopping the AP gain on the enemy team's turn 2, which would generally be the turn that they gain AP to rush for turn 3, or using their signature move. So that's quite a large amount of AP gain that this is going to negate. Okay, so here we are on turn 2, and I can use my signature move. As you can see, the bottom line is stunned. I got kind of fortunate in how things lined up with my attacks. So I'm going to decide to impair the top line, and this is a lot of control coming out. As you can see, the attack's going to come in. Because it is a signature move, it can crit as well. That means it can take advantage of certain weapon potentials if it is based on crit or RNG. For instance, splash damage could, enable splash damage. It could take into effect the brand new weapon in the current battle pass, where it would also confuse the character for 1 turn, which would be kind of decent as well if the character had like resist. For instance, if I did it on the bottom line and did it against Dr. Stevens, he has natural impair resistance, so he could resist the impair, but the confuse from that particular weapon would still confuse him if it did crit. So that's actually pretty decent there. Obviously, on the downside, you will have to be very careful of what characters you attack in terms of their weapons, because you could get stunned, you could get, controlled in certain circumstances. Disarms are going to be quite important there. That's just the way it's going to be. You can see with the upgrades at grade 2, it gets -1 cooldown, so it goes from 3 turns to 2 turns, which is pretty important. At grade 4, the starting cooldown goes from 3 turns to 2 turns, which is extremely important. And at limit break 1, it gets a 50% damage bonus, and it goes from 150% to 200% damage. This is nice. Obviously, a 200% is actually a pretty decent hit, especially because it can crit. You can manipulate this in certain ways, and he has got attack boost in other parts of his kit, as you've probably seen already. So this 200% is already getting boosted a little bit by turn 2, and then when it comes back around again, it could potentially be boosted quite heavily on top of that. I like the fact that this has got control. This is going to work on both attack and defense. Obviously, on attack, you can control where it goes. As you saw in my little, clip there, I fully had control on the bottom line, so controlling the top line, and that, basically the combo with certain characters could be really good. There are other characters that have a little bits of control, and this is going to give you 1 turn. It will give you 1 turn to get things done where you potentially would have rushes going off on turn 3 on the defense team. It's going to be turn 4 instead, which does make actually quite a big difference. And obviously this is going to work against certain characters like Governor. So for instance, he could do his signature move against the character in front of Governor. You could take out Governor with another character, and Governor would be impaired in that situation. So a slight Governor / Outlast character counter here. Now next up are Eugene's mythic abilities. These are his passive skills, and this is where he goes from someone who could be pretty nice on an attack team to being someone who could be really good on a defense team as well. If we check them out, you can see he's got agility because he is a damage dealer. Because he's got the damage roll, he is going to get 20% increase in basic attack damage. This is going to work with those basic attacks and his signature moves. It will not work with his rush. However, there are other parts of his kit which will amplify his rush. He has got thick skull, a 60% stun resistance base, so you don't have to have stun resist on this guy to have any sort of, stun resistance on him. If you were to use a mod, it would supersede the stun resistance hit if it was a higher percentage. So if you put a 65% stun resist mod on him, the stun resist here would not take effect, and it would only be based on the mod itself. So it's generally not worth it. 60% is actually pretty reasonable, and you might want to go for more meta resist at the time. Just having stun resist always there is extremely nice. This is where it starts to get more powerful, of course. When being attacked, 45% chance to reduce damage taken to 0. That means he's got an inbuilt absolute defense at 45% chance. That is as powerful, or just slightly less powerful, than the absolute defense pistol, the Jesus one from one of the previous battle passes, and he's got it inbuilt into his kit on his passive. This is where his usability on defense teams could be quite high, because then you could use a very offensive weapon on his, on his weapon, or you could actually have stun on defense on there as well. It would obviously up to you. You could also use that pistol that I talked about from the battle pass on a defense team. So then every time he does his basic attacks and signature moves, he has a potential to, confuse someone, and that can be devastating for an attack team. If you confuse the right character with Splash or Rampage, like the new Michonne 2000, she could absolutely destroy her own team. So very important there. Now the next one, if you thought that was good enough, the next one is Organ Donor. When taking out a target, 50% chance to revive up to one teammate with 25% max HP. Again, on a defense team, that's crazy. On an attack team, that is actually very useful as well. But on a defense team, he's going to be taking out damage dealers. No problem at all. 800% on that rush. 700% if you don't get him to limit break 2. Even his signature move can hit hard enough. And because you don't have to have any sort of... you can make his weapon windowless. You can go quite heavy on the attack. It's completely up to you on how you do it. If you do go with that battle pass weapon, it has base 40% attack. It also has cleanse on there as well, which will be very useful for Eugene. So Very interesting indeed, and he does obviously get damage rolling, let's say, throughout the fight. So the longer a fight goes on, the more powerful and the harder he hits, and the more likely he's going to take characters out because of the damage boost he's going to get from that. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how some of his passives work. We'll see if we can get some of them to proc. I'm going to just take out someone really nice and quickly, and this is just so there's a revive potential for his takedown. When he takes that someone out, he's got the potential to revive. Now I'm going to just attack him with a couple of characters, and you're going to see him gain some AP. He gains AP even when he takes 0 damage, but you can see he basically removed a lot of damage there. A lot of damage potential. On a defense team, that's going to be very important. You can still make him very tanky, but the chance for him to actually, you know, put it to 0, and I have got a stun on defense weapon on him, and you can see that Glenn got stunned when he also did the absolute defense. So there's a lot of problems here. A lot of problems. I'm going to just defend on the last 2 characters. You're going to see the rush of Eugene come out. He should take someone out, and let's see, we have a 50% chance of picking up the character I just took down. And it looks like the revive is going to come in, and that is because of Eugene's rush taking out Harper. And that's pretty much how he can potentially work on a defense team, which I think is going to be very powerful. Now, if we look at the skill upgrades for his passive, we can see Thick Skull is the grade 1, and you get 40% of that stun resistance there. You will get 20% later on. Agility comes in at grade 2 as usual. Grade 3, we have Thick Skin. When being attacked, 30% chance to reduce damage to 0. That's, you know, the first half of that as well. Thick Skull 2 comes in at grade 4, 20% stun resistance. Organ Donor, when killing a target, 50% chance to revive up to 1 teammate with 25% max HP. And then at grade Limit Break 1, you get Agility 2. And then at Limit Break 2, you get the second half of Thick Skin, giving you an extra 15% chance to get an absolute defense to proc, basically. So that's where all of his power comes in. And I think these will all work on attack, but they make him extremely viable on a defense team, which I wouldn't have thought otherwise if I, you know, was just looking at the first parts of his kit. So pretty strong for a defense team indeed. Now, he is a specialist, and I think this is also a specialist skill that can work on defense teams. It is on a roll. This character's attack increases by 20% at the start of each turn after the first, up to a maximum of 120% after 6 turns. Bonus resets if taken out, stunned, or impaired. Now, he has natural stun resistance, so you could put impair resistance on him to make it so he's got less likely, you know, he's less likely to have this reset. This is obviously really good on the defense team because you are going to try and gear him probably a little bit more defensive within his combat mods, within some of the weapon upgrades, but this is going to give him the attack damage he needs. There was a Tara in one of the league stores a long time ago. I think it was season 2, and she was really good for defense teams. She was really good just gearing her out very defensively and relying on a roll, and she had a single target nuke, and it worked really well. And I think it's going to work really well with Eugene as well. Okay, so this time we'll just have a lone Eugene on defense by himself, and we'll just see how the attack boost actually works. We're just going to defend on everybody each turn. So after the first turn, he's going to gain 20% attack on my attack team, as you can see. The first turn, like the first turn of the wave does not count, but the next turn does. As you can see, the next turn is going to come in for the defense team, 20% attack. The next turn for me is going to come in, 40%. And that's how it scales. It's just going to keep going up and up and up. Now it's 60% for me, but we did actually have the one on the defense team removed, and this is because I did manage to cleanse it with my Harper. So there are going to be some counters to this. Harper seems to be quite a good character to kind of stop this from being as big an issue. But you can see the one on my attack team is still going. We're probably going to have someone absolutely nuked right now. It is going to be Harper by the looks of things. It is indeed. But my attack is still going up, and it goes up to a maximum of 120%. It's pretty straightforward. It's now up to 100%. And obviously this just means that I will hit a lot harder when I do anything. We're just going to do it one more time. Now I'm at a max of 120%. The defense character has managed to get him up to 60%. So if I use my signature move, you can see I can do a big hit, 13,000. And as you can see, because he is impaired, it removed the buff instantly. So I like on a roll for attack and defense, particularly when someone's got a single target hit. It just amplifies one big hit. You're very likely to take someone out. And because he also is most likely going to focus strong characters, that could potentially be a small counter for Rick on attack teams, who is going to be very useful, you know, in the coming weeks and months for sure. Also, the fact that it plays into the rest of his kit. If he takes out characters, other things are likely to proc within his kit. It's just going to give you a better chance of that actually happening. Now, as we saw in the intro, he does not have a weapon attached to him. He has got a default pistol, so you can put a weapon you have crafted in his hand straight away. I like this quite a lot, just so he's instantly usable on attack or defense. It's going to be much more useful for him, I think. I do think we'll probably see a silenced Eugene pistol down the line, though. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. But like I said, I think a pistol that will work great in his hands is that pistol from the current battle pass on a defense team, because it has some nice defensive things in there, like the cleanse, and it also has a slot where you can just put some HP in there. And the fact that he can hit crits on, you know, his signature move and his basic attacks, it means he can got some control there. I actually like that weapon quite a lot, and there's going to be an attack boost if you so wish. You could replace it with defense as well if you really wanted to. So that is Gold Mythic Eugene, and like I said, he is going to be part of a premiere event that is structured a bit like the Konrad event. So look out for more news with regards to that, and probably check the shop for the pass. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? It's going to be something tools. It's going to be like his wrench or something like that, right? You've got to get Eugene's wrench to unlock the roadmaps or something. We'll have to see for that. But Eugene looks like a good character. And when you look at his rush and his signature move, like I said before, it doesn't look like a character that could be viable on a defense team. But the second those passives come in, that's why I always say, always look at the passive. The passives are almost the most important thing on a character when it comes to their viability on attack or defense. And he suddenly becomes this really intriguing defense team character that could be very, very dangerous for sure. Pretty much on any team that he's sitting in. You know, I like his kit a lot for a defense team. 50% chance to revive on a takedown, and he's very likely to take someone out with multiple parts of his kit. His signature is going to hit very hard too, so yeah, interesting both ways for sure. Let me know your thoughts on Eugene. Where would you use him? Do you think he is viable on a defense team, or am I just seeing things? That is the end of my video, guys. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.